Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5 to take a look at the fourth and final brand new truck added to this game, which is the HUMMER EV. Just like the Duberti F250 in summer, the Ford F-150 in autumn, and the Chevy K10 in winter, to obtain the HUMMER EV, all you have to do is get 20 points in the spring season, which at the time of this video uploading, you still have 1 day left to do, if you haven't already gone and got it. I've done it by doing the trial, the event lab, a danger sign, and the treasure hunt, which involved doing 3 Pathfind accolades. When I first got this vehicle, I couldn't actually find it in my garage, and that's because it's under GMC and not under HUMMER, which is technically correct as it is now sold as a GMC HUMMER, but I feel like it may have still made more sense for it to be near the other HUMMERs in the garage for ease of finding it in-game. I think in reality they've kind of done it to try and separate it from the rather different diesel HUMMERs of old. It may seem strange to have an electric HUMMER at all, although when you think about it, it's actually the perfect name for an EV, as it is effectively the noise they all make. This truck has a plethora of huge numbers associated with it. It produces a huge 1026 horsepower, which sounds like a lot, but the weight is just as ridiculous at 4111 kilos, which for comparison is more than a heavy thing. Which actually means here in the UK, you literally need a truck license to be able to drive this absolute behemoth on the road at all. It is of course an all-wheel drive vehicle, which means overall it's rated a rather impressive A718 here in Forza. In reality, this thing has a feature called crab walk, which as you might expect means the vehicle can kind of crab in a diagonalish fashion due to its four-wheel steering system, which is a cool but entirely pointless feature. Although it would have been great to have that implemented into Forza, I'm not really sure how they would have made that work, so yeah, I'm not too disappointed to not see that here, especially as, like I say, it is pretty pointless. Despite this truck being an EV, which I'm still unconvinced by, and being such a huge, ridiculous machine, this is actually the vehicle I've been looking forward to the most in this series, as to me the other 3 are just quite ordinary pickup trucks. They're all pretty similar. I like that they're all new and added, but yeah, they didn't excite me really. But this is quite different to anything else we have in Forza, or even anything else out there in the world, apart from the very closely related Rivian truck. But anyway, all of that makes it quite interesting to me in comparison to the more traditional trucks we had in the previous weeks. In reality, this truck also has removable roof panels, which Forza have implemented, but there's no roof animation, it just kind of goes from closed to open. Being a truck though, it's got a huge amount of storage. It's got, for one, the truck bed, as well as a fairly spacious cabin, but being an EV there's no engine up front, so you effectively have a boot, a truck bed and a cabin, which is just incredible. When driving it there at the Baja circuit where you saw it earlier, I discovered it's seemingly gear limited to 106 miles per hour, so before I did any customization and upgrades, I tuned the gears, or gear I should say, as Forza have finally figured out that EVs don't have more than one of them. And I did a quick top speed test to see what we could manage with it completely stock with just that gear ratio tuned, and it went from its previous 106 miles per hour top speed to 192, so tuning gear ratios makes a big difference, and it's quite an impressive top speed for a vehicle this heavy, even if it does have that much power. But anyway, with that out of the way, now let's take a look at the customization and upgrade options. Starting with the manufacturer colours, of which there are no options, there's only the white that it comes in as you receive it. So that's slightly disappointing, and there's no paint groups either. In terms of actual upgrades, there's not all that much, as is often the way with electric vehicles in Forza. There are a few visual options. There is the bash bar with lights front bumper that's available on most trucks now, and there are several rear customization options. There's roof bars, there's the sort of roof tent that's available on a lot of trucks, but without the racks of storage on the side, because the truck bed's a bit too short with this being a 5-seater cab. or there's Forza Aero, which essentially removes the bed cover. So there's a few visual options there. You can also upgrade your motor and battery, and then you can also do a conversion. So if you convert it to the 1800 horsepower motor, you get 1893 horsepower. But if you don't, you can upgrade the standard one to 1334. Either way, it's a huge increase on the already ridiculous power figure. There are also your usual tyre options, including the new tyre profile sizes, as you would expect on all the trucks now. And all the other stuff in here is kind of as you would expect. There is, of course, a weight reduction, so you can get it down to 3,000 kilos by doing that, which is probably necessary, but otherwise it's all pretty standard upgrades. So usually at this point in the video, I would go and look for a decent B or A class tune for the vehicle, apply that, and then go and do some form of open racing in this. But there were very few names I recognised when I was looking through the tunes, and those that I did were describing it as land yachts and ocean liners and things like that. So I think it's just never going to be good at anything like that. So instead what I've done is I have put in that upgraded 1893 horsepower motor, and I've also done full weight reduction, brought it down to 2,756 kilos, and done all the other mods and things you would expect. Put it on off-road tyres, better suspension, all of that sort of thing. So this is essentially what it's like, completely maxed, but with none of the visual mods because they add weight, which puts it at 888 PI. So let's see how ridiculously fast it is like this, and then I'll probably go and put a more sensible overlanding style tune on it, because that's kind of the theme of this series after all. Okay, the gearing is fully tuned to speed, so let's see what speed it can reach. 100 already. It still accelerates ridiculously fast, despite being tuned towards speed rather than acceleration. 190. 200. I thought that was going to be a long enough space, but I'm not sure it is. That was effectively 220 when we went over the end of there. Okay, let's do this properly using the highway again, like I did when I tested the upgraded gears before. It reaches 100 so quickly. And there's 200. 38. 39. 240. 244. I think that's going to be it. 244 miles per hour in the still incredibly heavy Hummer EV. And I'm quite enjoying how insanely quick this thing accelerates, so instead of putting a sensible off-road tune on, which I was going to do, as this isn't going to be actually useful for anything specific, just as being something mad, I think I'm going to leave it more or less like that. I will go and put some of the visual mods on, just because I think they're kind of cool, and maybe give it another respray, because I'm not sure this is the final colour I want it in, but I think essentially that's probably how I'm going to leave it. So what I've done is effectively added the roof tent. I didn't put the front lights on because it blocks that rather cool Hummer light bar, which I do actually really like, especially with those H-shaped lights at either end. I think that's fantastic, but I've given it a more of an off-road themed or suitable colour, a kind of khaki camouflage to blend in with the desert out there, so that not only nobody can remember your name, but they also can't see your car. I've also given it black wheels and black calipers, because I think that fits all the other gloss black on it. And overall, I think it looks pretty good. It's now on chunkier off-road tyres, again making it a bit heavier, but I think that's pretty cool. Which means we can probably just go straight up here at great speed, which I think is going to be a great way to end this video. But yeah, I really don't think this is going to be that useful for anything. Potentially you could use it as a playground games vehicle, because it accelerates quite fast and obviously can go over all terrain. So maybe we need to use this for some playground games. I think that's going to be the thing it's best suited to in the world of Forza, other than purely driving up mountains like I'm doing now. Which, to be fair, in the world of Forza you can do in absolutely anything. So, not necessarily this quickly and easily in anything, but yeah, that is actually quite impressive how fast it's done that. And oh wow. That was incredible. 130. 150. Yeah, there's a way to get around the map very quickly. This is great. I'm going to use it for that a lot. Although fast travel exists, so that's kind of pointless in this game. Oh, no, never mind, I take it all back. It's been defeated by a rock. Okay. Well, now for the fun bit. Let's see how fast we can go down the hill. $230. 230 off-road. Oh no! And that is going to do it for a very first look at the GMC HUMMER EV here on Forza Horizon 5. Really cool thing to have, and I have really enjoyed just messing about with this. Like I say, I find it more interesting than the more traditional trucks that we've had, well, 3 of in this month, so they were getting a little bit repetitive to me. I'm not much of a pickup truck person, but this I do actually quite like. I know it's super heavy, super ridiculous, but it is quite different to anything else out there, or anything else we have in Forza at least. As I expected going into this, it is so ridiculously heavy and starts at quite high PI considering its weight that I think it's going to be quite difficult for it to be any good at anything, which is what I found when I looked at the tunes describing it as a land yacht and a cruiser and things like that. It's just not going to be great for anything like that. Potentially it'll be okay at playground games, so maybe that's what this will end up doing. But for me, I think just having it this ridiculously powerful and fast to mess about with and shoot over the top of volcanoes is about perfect. So yeah, not going to be competitive for anything, I don't think, but a cool addition nonetheless, and something that I think I will actually enjoy driving after this first look at it. And that kind of brings an end to the Trucks month. We do now know what's coming in the next series in High Performance. There's going to be some Donut Media Story Mode with prize cars, and rather excitingly an AMG GT Black series in one of the playlist weeks, although a lot of the others seem to be recycled vehicles. And there's also a paid car pack coming, so I will potentially be doing some videos on some of the cars from that as well. But for now, though, for a very first look at the Hummer, and for, well, the end of the truck-themed Explore the Horizon series, that is going to be all. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back with the next video very soon.